Hello, friends. I welcome you in today's lecture on an important concept in sociology, and that is social process. The term social process can be understood by referring to it as processes in society that keeps the society dynamic and which again is based on social interaction and social relationship. Social process is a significant concept for understanding the social world around us. As we all know that man is a gregarious creature who cannot live in isolation. Humans are social in nature, which leads us to interact and form social relationships. Therefore, before understanding social process, we have to gain some insight on social interaction because social interaction and social process are interrelated. First of all, we will take some definitions. Carl Dawson and Werner Getties, who are known for their book An Introduction to Sociology, which was published in 1948. They said that social interaction is a process where men interpenetrate the minds of each other. Another sociologist, Francis Merrill, said social interaction is the general process whereby two or more people are in a meaningful contact leading to a slightly modified behavior. From these two definitions, we can say that social interaction influences our overt behavior or state of mind. This has been supported by famous Russian psychologist Lev Vygotsky in his socio-cultural theory of cognitive development, where he said that social interactions influence our cognitive development. The word cognitive here means thinking, perception, communication, memory, ability to grow and change over time. Getting a clue from what we discussed, we can say that social interaction is mutual, reciprocal, interstimulative, communicative, and based on response, which helps in solving social problems, establishing common reactions, ideas, emotions, which further result in establishing a social relationship. Now, this is getting interesting as we move on to the elements of social interaction. There are two elements of social interaction. One is social contact, and the second one is communication. When we talk about social contact, it may be a physical contact or the contact made by different medium like phones or social media platforms, etc. This social contact may be temporary, permanent, or long lasting in nature. Sociologist Gillen is of the opinion that social contact is the first step of social interaction between two or more people. Social contact could also be positive in the form of cooperation or negative in the form of conflict. The words cooperation and conflict, which I just used, are actually social processes. The next one is communication. We should understand that without communication, the two-way interaction is not possible. When the other person responds to this communication, it results in social interaction, forming a kind of social relationship. Now, communication is a process of transmission of ideas to other persons. Some kinds of communication can be interpersonal, face to face, verbal, non-verbal, formal, informal, or through internet. As we have understood the concept of social interaction now, which is directly related to the term social process, and one cannot be understood without the other. Therefore, we can proceed to know about social process. We can recollect that social interaction is an action done in response to the other action. Whereas when this interaction is repeated, it leads to a result, and that result is called social process. Now, let us see how it works. First action plus second action leads to social interaction being repeated, which further leads to formation of social relationship, which further leads to again social process. Now, social process could be in many forms: cooperation, conflict, accommodation, assimilation, etc. Now, basically, social process is the form of social interaction or the form of social relationship. What kind of relationship you have? You have a cooperating relationship, you have a conflicting relationship, you have a relationship based on competition, or any other social process. To make things clear, we can see the definition of sociologist Paul Horton and Chester Hunt. Social processes are repetitive forms of behavior commonly found in social life. Now, gradually, we can slide into knowing the main elements of social process, without which it cannot come into play. There are basically five elements of social process. The first one is sequence of events or actions. It is the repetition of such events or actions. It is based on relationship between events, continuity of such events, and the fifth one is it arrives at a special result, and this special result is social process. After we arrive at a result in the form of social process, it is further categorized into two types. The first one is associative social process, which is responsible for maintaining social stability, which may include cooperation, accommodation, assimilation, acculturation. The second one is a dissociative social process, which is again responsible for social change in the society. It could include social processes like conflict, competition, or contravention. All these processes are the result of repetitive actions, interaction, and social relationship. They are called modes of social interactions or relationships. I hope the lesson on social process is clear, and now we can have a recap on today's lecture. We studied about what is social interaction, elements of social interaction, what is social process, what is the relationship of social interaction and social process. We also studied about the elements of social process and discussed the types of social process. Concluding the lecture, we can derive that social processes are forms of social interaction which occurs repeatedly. In simpler words, social processes are ways of interacting and establishing social relationship. You can now think critically about the role of social processes in shaping the society and also how social processes are impacting our daily lives. That is all I have for you today. Keep connecting to the Sociology School. Thank you.